Yeah, if you want to go ahead and get started, looks like we're capping out.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I am Gail Duffy. I'm the payroll supervisor, and I'm going to do my best to train you on how to use Oracle's new time and labor. So first, I want to mention that you can also go to the ePortal and log into Oracle from there. You can't right now, but I think maybe by next week or soon, you'll be able to log in. And there's also lots of training material that's available to you there. Once you get logged in, you're going to see this first page that's your dashboard, and your name should be here. And first of all, we're going to talk about finding the time cards on your employees. So under right here is My Team. If you click on it, and then you click My Team, you should see a list of your employees. And there's other, if you click on their name or on the three dots to the side, you can see different, it'll pull up different information about your employees. You can either go back to the previous screens by clicking on the back button here, or just going back up to your city seal. You can also go home over here by clicking on this little house that says home. And while we're looking at these icons here, there's an icon at the top that is a little bell. And if it has a red circle with a number on it, that means that you have notifications. Anytime something comes to your attention that you need to check something, you need to approve a time card or anything, they're all going to pop up here. This one, action required, that means you have something that you have to attend to. So it's probably one of your employees' time cards needs editing or approving. And you can click on it straight from here to go to that time clock to see what the actual day and the one that's needs your attention. Once you, or if it's just a message and you want to read it and then dismiss it, you can. And that's one way to see your notifications. Also, if you scroll down to the bottom, they also show here. It's the same thing. Okay. Then to go see your time cards so that you can approve or make edits or whatever you need to do. There's two different ways to go. So this first way I'm going to show you is you'll click on My Client Groups. And then Time Management. And this first screen you come to, it's going to show you an overview. Notice your dates up here. It usually has the current date. You can change your dates by clicking on the calendar or just by typing them in. If you want to see the pay period, you can put in the pay period dates and then click over here to refresh, and your numbers may change here. These numbers is going to tell you the status of your employees. And because I have view of everyone in the city, this is going to include everyone. And we are in a test instance, so we've been playing around, adding things. So what you see is probably not real information, other than the employees are real employees, but we've been adding time cards so that we can show y'all and test things out. So it's saying that there's one in error. There's 5 that's been approved, 4 incomplete, 1 submitted. So you can always go here and there's 3 entered. If that means you have time cards that have been entered by the employee, meaning they've clocked in, but they may need to be approved. So if you click on the entered, it will take you to that screen. And you can see the names of the employees that it's referring to. And if you want to open it up so you can see it, you can click on the view summary. And it looks like there's nothing there. So it also shows you at the top who you're on, your employee, and the details of the date that you're looking at. It shows you your start times, stop times, the day of the week. This should be the dates that you've got pulled up. And if you have the whole pay period in from beginning date to the end, it'll show you your period week, period dates, and then Saturday, Sunday, and it goes on, and you have to scroll over to see all the way to the right. And it'll also show you your totals. So the only thing she has on here is hours worked from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. on December the 9th. So if that's correct, just 1.19 hours. It's also going to report not rounded when you first look at it here. But after it has been submitted and calculated, it'll show you below screen is the calculated time. And it's not rounded yet here because you haven't submitted it up here. It's just entered. But we'll look at another one that shows you more detail. So I'm going to go back on that one. I mainly just wanted to show you that, and you can hit the back arrow to get back to where you were. I just want to show you that you can go here to see what these are. You can, there's also listed over here. So the other way is you can go to team time cards. And if you hit this plus add button, then you can search for a specific employee. By entering their last name, comma, space, and their first name. Now, if you don't have very many employees, you might not have to do this. You can just put in their last name. Sometimes it'll just pop right up. And then you select them from the list. If you want to create a time card, say, for example, this employee forgot to clock in one day, so you have to go back in and add it. You select the date that needs to be added. So let's say for the 10th, they need a time card. click OK. And this is what their time cards look like. And for this period of time, it's blank for this employee. On your hours type, down under, here's your employee detail. So straight down here under hours type is the column you'll start with. Click on the down arrow and you'll get a selection of codes. They're not number codes anymore. It'll be the actual words. So worked hours is what you're going to get if they clock in, it's just their regular hours. So if you want to enter, you can either enter them by typing in. Well, do it right. And if I'm going to do an odd unrounded number just so I can show you the differences. See how that little box turned red? Because you have to enter AM and PM also. And if you need to enter the whole week, and all they have is hours worked, you can do that for the whole week. You can also copy and paste these into the next fields if you want to. If they have, back to your drop-down list, if they have fill-in pay, you would select fill-in pay. And let's say that on Monday, they had to fill in for someone, you would put in their time the same way. This fill-in pay is when they're covering for a supervisor or somebody above them. So it pays the 6% more. So this, when it goes over to be paid, it's going to pay the 6% higher rate. If you have employees that are on call, if they get called back in after hours, you will use the callback pay code. So say they got called in on a Saturday at 9. They worked until 12. You would just enter it that way, and it's going to keep. So when you're done, I'm going to go ahead and add some more hours actually for the weeks. I'll have more. You're done. Click save. It saves everything you've got in there. I'm gonna lose it. This column over here, if you don't have this column frozen so that you can see it as you scroll across the screen, this little message is going to come up when you save. So you say okay if you want to save it. So when you want to scroll all the way over to the right of your screen and you still want to see what the hours type is, it's sort of like the Excel spreadsheet. If you just click over the top of it and say freeze, it'll freeze that column. See how it went away when I clicked on the freeze because I already had mine frozen. Let's click on it again. Maybe. Highlight it, click the freeze tab, and that freezes it. So when you scroll over, you're going to see her total hours worked here, her total fill-in pay hours here, and her callback hours. They're also a grand total at the bottom, and for each day, you have a grand total. Okay, if you're good with everything that's there, you can say next. Once it's completed, you're still going to see your actual time here at the top. But if you scroll down to the bottom, it's now going to show you the calculated time. And if you'll notice, it's in the quantities now and they're rounded. And then the totals out to the side are also rounded. The other thing I want to mention is callback. Now, when they clock into the callback, or if you add a callback pay hours, it's going to add the 2 hours of callback automatically, and it's going to take your hours worked for that day and place them in the worked hours, because those are your regular hours that you work that day. It's also, if you fall into overtime, once you reach your 40 hours for the week, anything after that is going to put you into overtime. So it's going to show you overtime is at the 6.75 hours at straight time. And you're also now going to have another line. It's going to say overtime premium, which is going to be the 6.5 at halftime. So that's a little bit of a difference of what you're seeing now also. That's in there because now it's going to automatically calculate if you have different rates in the system. It'll do the overtime based on everything you have in there. So now when you have fill-in pay that pays you at a higher rate, it's going to use that to calculate your overtime rate in with here. So there'll be no more manual adjustments for that. And you can still scroll back up to the top if you need to compare what you have in here to what it calculates at down here. And once you're good with that, you're happy their time looks correct, you say submit now. and confirm. Now that doesn't mean that you can't go back and edit it again. You can, but once it's submitted, you can go here and then search for your person. Sometimes they'll just pop right up there, and then you'll need to make sure your dates are here. And then search and see, it'll show your person's time card for that period of time. Shows their name and the period that the time card's for, and that it has been submitted. That's the status. If you click on this line where her name is, don't click on the dates, just click on the line where her name is here. If you still want to look at it one more time, you can scroll over and click on this little icon under the view summary, and it'll bring, excuse me, it'll bring the view summary back up again. But if you're just finished with it and you're pretty confident it looks all right, you can click on approve, and it's all approved. And there's your confirmation. So when you are on that dashboard here, then if you look before, your number probably had changed because you've just approved another person's time card. So if you know you have 5 employees total and it says 5 are approved, you know you've approved them all. If you go back to the time cards, if you want to search for another employee, you just put their name here. It should come up with their details. And if you need to go back in and edit, you can. Does anybody have any questions so far? Okay. I'm sure I've covered most of that. Okay, I had mentioned that there's 2 ways that you can go into your time cards. So let's go back to the dashboard by clicking on the city seal here. And the second way you can go in is by my team. And then scroll down to where it says show more. Click on it. And then you have to scroll down some more till you see time. And then team time cards. And you'll click on that. Take out your filters. And it should show your employees below. And you can click on the dates to open up their time. You can see all the different periods that have been approved. Your different employees. If you have some that are just saved and not approved, it'll say this out here. You click on the three little dots over here. You can print your time card. So if you pull up the time card first, if you click on this tab, the drop down tab here, you can choose between if you want to see the calculated details by the earn date or a summary, or if you want to see the reported details, which is the actual clocked in times and so forth. So if you want to see the calculated, click on that and it'll show you each day a total of their hours and what time they clocked in and out and what the code is. Up at the top is a summary of the reported time and the calculated time. Now, everyone in the time clock is going to have a schedule. The majority of them is scheduled the standard schedule of 8 hours per day, being off Saturday and Sunday. But if your employees have a different schedule than that, it's probably been set up if we know what it is. But it'll be up to you to check that and for your pay clerk to keep the schedules updated. So you'll have to communicate with your pay clerk about how to set up the schedules. And I'll show you your team schedules in just a moment. But right now, this is, you can click on here to edit. Or you can change how you want to see it again, as here is in a summary and so forth. That's just you'll still do the same thing. If you click on the little pencil to edit, you can edit your details. I prefer the other way myself because it seems simpler than this one. But you can also, there's action buttons up here that once you change, if you want to save and close, or if you want to submit now or print your time card. This actions tab is just for save and close, and it's submit now. We go back to our dashboard and you're on my team. If you click over here to the little dots, okay, maybe not. I thought you could see their schedule from here. Go back to the dashboard. If you go to my client groups, and forgive me, I'm still trying to remember all this stuff too. So I'm with you on learning. I know y'all haven't seen it at all, but it's once you get used to navigating around in here, it does become pretty simple. Then go to your team time cards. Search for your person. That's not what I'm wanting to do. Okay, JT, are you on here?
Yes. Yeah,
Can you
yes, Gail.
remind me how to find
Yes,
their
please.
schedule?
So go back to the home page, Gail. And we wanted to see the team schedule, right?
Yes.
So click on My Team. And then from the left-hand side, Show More.
Oops, too far.
And then scroll down. And then we have right below that team schedule, just, yeah,
Oh,
there you go.
yes. There we go. It's a little bit slow today. Okay. So it'll show your employees in a list, and out to the side of it, it shows you the dates, and they're set up for 8 hours per day, off on Saturday and Sunday. If they have a different schedule, like if they work 10 hours a day, it'll show us 10 hours a day for 4 days a week. And if Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is their off day, that's how it'll display. So we have 12-hour employees that work 12 hours a day, and their schedules change. So per week, so I don't know if I can I pull up? I can pull up one in another department, right?
No, not from
No.
this screen, Gail, because
Okay.
this is secured by Line Manager.
Right. So all I can see there, and all you'll be able to see is your employees. Do I go to my client groups and time management?
And you can see the same information from the plan schedule also. On the left-hand side, you see. The last one in the list, Gail, from the left-hand side, yes.
Oh, I have to move. Something's covering it up. Okay, that's why I didn't see it a while ago. Plan schedule. Okay.
So same information, so whatever you see under My Team for all
Mm-hmm.
of your direct report is same schedule. You can see it from either team schedule or from plan schedule.
Okay. There's another thing I needed to go over too for a different employee. I want to show you a police employee. So if you go to Okay. So for police officers, they record an overtime reason sometimes when they have overtime for that they need to report their reason for. So they're going to have their regular clocked in hours. It's going to show up when they clock in, will be under hours worked. They also have the callback pay and the fill-in pay elements, but they're going to also see an overtime. So when they have to work overtime for these special reasons, they can clock out after their normal time and then clock back in to the overtime code. And then select from the list what they're going to be working on. So if they're working for an event, they would select event. If they need to see further down, if it's not showing on the list here, as they scroll down, then select search at the bottom. And then select search here, and it'll give you the full list. Also start typing and it'll come up with it there. So you just enter that. And then if you're entering this manually for one of your employees, you'd put in the start time that they started their overtime and their stop time. As they clock, when they clock, they will select this and it'll show up here. Just the same as everybody, everything works the same. The only difference is they will have these overtime reasons. Now, if they don't have to have a reason, they don't have to put this in here. They just clock their time straight through and they don't have to do anything else. Does anybody have any questions so far? I think I've pretty much covered everything. J2, did you notice if I missed anything?
No, I think you have covered a team schedule, different time cards for police, regular employee,
Mm-hmm.
and how to create, how to edit, how to submit it. And yeah, that's pretty much. Did you talk about the notification, Gail?
I did.
Perfect.
The
So I think we are covered.
notification up here, yes, and then it shows at the bottom of your screen also.
Right. Now we have one question from Jason.
Okay.
He's asking, will supervisors be able to create and set schedules for their employees? Pardon if this was started earlier and I missed it. I thought someone said supervisors would need to speak to the payroll clerks.
I did. I said right now I think the payroll clerks change the schedules, but if we is that correct? But if we need to, can't we give the supervisor access to fix the schedule? JT?
Yes. So in cloud, managers will have access and ability to assign the schedules, but not create a new schedule.
Correct. Okay. That's the difference. Okay. So if what he's saying is if there's a schedule already out there, like I know the police has different schedules, and if they're all already created, then the supervisor would just go select that schedule for that employee as they change. But the payroll clerk will, if there's a new schedule to be set up, then the pay clerk will actually create that schedule. So when we first go into the Oracle Cloud, that's one of the first things you need to do is go and check and make sure all your employees have the correct schedule and get those corrected if not. It'll make a difference when they add their hours for absences and different things, because if they're a 10-hour employee and they go to request an absence, it's going to automatically pop in as a 10 hours if their schedule is correct. Otherwise,
Yes.
they'll have to change it manually. Same for a 12-hour employee. Do we have any more questions?
I don't see any other questions in the chat.
Okay. Great. That means everybody's got it. They're going to know just how to do this when they go into the, I want to mention too that the way that things are changing. So of course you still have a deadline now. You know, your weekends on Thursday for everybody. So on Friday mornings, you'll need to go in and make sure that all of your employees' time has been looked at, corrected, edited, approved, and then approved. Payroll will be running a process to move all of those time card records into Oracle on Mondays usually. So you'll only have that period of time. We'll give you an exact time as we get closer to when you're going to have to make sure you have all of your time cards submitted, approved, and approved. And you will also get notifications reminding you. Not only do you get them at the top here and at the bottom here, but once we get ready, before we're ready to move everything to Oracle for processing the payrolls, we're going to start running reports. And if you still have employees out there that needs corrections or approving, it'll send you another notification by email and on here. And I think I've covered everything. So if anybody doesn't have any questions, do we have any?
We have one more question, Gail. Is
Okay.
time clock go live date still December 17th?
No.
Absent is December 17th.
Yes. Your absences you should start those. That's in your Oracle employee self-service. The time clock itself, you'll keep clocking into Time Clock Plus just like you are now. It'll be sometime in January when we start, and we will be letting you know the exact date when the changeover is going to happen. Meanwhile, while you're still on Time Clock, we'll move those records over to the Oracle Cloud. Is that it?
I don't see any other questions, so I'm thinking
Okay.
be it. Thank you everyone for attending the webinar. Like all the other webinars, it's recorded and it'll be added on the e-portal for our future viewing and future reference. This concludes our webinar. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.